You've reached the activism portion of today's show. Now that you're informed and angry, here's what you can do about it. Today's activism: what can you do to support the Medicare for All movement? Desmond Tutu famously said, "Hope is being able to see the light despite all of the darkness." And it sure has been dark lately, but this month, as historic hurricanes and earthquakes added a new level of panic to an already frightening political landscape, the announcement of Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill was a much-needed bright spot. The significance of this announcement is getting lost in the mainstream media news cycle, so let's lay it out here. This is the beginning of a major movement for a political idea that even just a few years ago was seen as completely radical in the US, but now actually has a chance of becoming law. It's an idea that will save lives, help counter growing income inequality, save us all money in the long run, and bring us up to speed with other first world nations. It embodies so much of what we stand for as progressives, and that's why we need to get ready for the long and arduous battle against special interests with power and money to make sure it succeeds. We're including links to groups and organizations you should get involved with in the show notes, but right now, other than the hashtag Medicare for All and the videos Bernie is putting out, there is no formal interactive fancy campaign page to send you to. So today's activism is going to be a little bit different than usual. Today, we aren't going to send you somewhere else or tell you to call people. That should be a given. We're just asking that you ask yourself, what can I do when it comes to the fight for Medicare for All? Maybe you're part of a church, synagogue, mosque, or completely secular community where you regularly meet and have discussion groups. If so, ask them to have discussions about healthcare and Medicare for All. Maybe you go to every single town hall your politician hosts, and even the ones they don't. Make sure that you, your friends, and family attend together and put pressure on those politicians to support Medicare for All. Maybe you have a personal story to share about you, a family member, or a friend that illustrates just how much we need a single-payer system in this country. If so, make a video and share it, or write about it in a letter to the editor of your local papers, or both. If you want to start small, have your friends listen to this episode right here, and then organize a get-together to talk about it. Try a few different groups of friends or family, and be sure to include those who might not agree with you. You'd be surprised who actually supports Medicare for All when they hear the details. Maybe you're a great organizer. You can pull together regular Medicare for All support rallies at the State House or in front of your representative's local office and invite local action groups, doctors and nurses, and community leaders to take part. Perhaps you're the kind of person who always knows the right people. If you have access to politicians or influential public figures in your community or beyond, use those connections. Engage those people on this topic and see if you can convince them to be an ally in this fight in a public way. Of course, these are all just examples of what you could do. You might come up with something completely different, but all we're asking is that you take the time today to think about what you can bring to the table. Each one of us has something to offer in this fight, and you don't need to wait for a campaign to tell you what to do to start making progress. This issue affects every single one of us, and it will only be won with a major, overwhelming grassroots movement. That's you. There are few opportunities to make such significant, lasting change in this country. So after listening to this show today, make a list of at least 3 things you might be able to do long-term to help Medicare for All become law. Then call into our voicemail line at 202-999-3991 to share your ideas and inspire others. Together, we can do this. And besides, it feels so good to be able to focus on something positive for a change. Am I right? The segment notes include all of the links to this information as well as additional resources. And as always, this and every activism segment we produce is archived and organized under the Activism tab at bestoftheleft.com. So if you believe healthcare should be considered a human right, be sure to hit the share buttons to spread the word about identifying what you can do to support Medicare for All via social media so that others in your network can spread the word too.